Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Ever wonder how the U.S. government spends billions? And I mean billions of taxpayer dollars on everything from fighter jets to, office supplies? Well, believe it or not, there's a whole rule book for that. A really important one, actually, designed to keep the entire game fair and transparent. Today, we're going to break down that rule book. So the big question right out of the gate, what in the world is procurement integrity? And maybe more to the point, why should you care? Whether you're a federal employee, a contractor trying to win a bid, or just a taxpayer. The stakes here are incredibly high. At its heart, procurement integrity is the set of laws that governs the government's entire buying process. Think of it as the system that's supposed to ensure those billions of your dollars are spent fairly. It's all about creating a level playing field and honestly protecting the public's trust in the whole process. So we've got the system of laws in place. But what happens if someone decides to, bend or just flat out break those rules? Well, the consequences are severe, and they are absolutely designed to be a powerful deterrent. And we're not just talking about a slap on the wrist here. The fallout is massive. A violation could get an entire project canceled. For a company, it could mean getting banned from all government work, what they call suspension or debarment. And for the people involved, it can escalate from heavy fines all the way up to criminal charges and even prison time. Okay, so the first pillar of procurement integrity is all about secrecy. You can almost picture it like a cone of silence that comes down over the whole process. Protecting sensitive information is absolutely critical if you want to have a fair competition. And this cone of silence protects two different kinds of secrets. On one side, you have the contractor's playbook. This is their secret sauce, right? Their unique solution, their pricing strategy, their staffing plans. On the other side, you've got the government's playbook, how they're going to judge the bids, their secret internal cost estimates, and all the private discussions of the evaluation team. Both sides are strictly off limits. And this is a really important point. It's a two-way street. The law is crystal clear. It's illegal for a government employee to knowingly give out the sensitive information, but it's just as illegal for a contractor to knowingly get it. So it doesn't matter if you're the source of the leak or the one who receives it. Either way, you've broken the law. So besides keeping secrets, the next big pillar of integrity is all about total impartiality. It's not just about what you know, it's also about who you know and what financial ties might be clouding your judgment. This is the whole world of conflicts of interest. And there are basically three main flavors of conflict you've got to watch out for. Financial, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's about money. Personal, which is all about relationships. And organizational, which applies to a whole company. Let's quickly break down what each of these looks like. First up, financial. The question is pretty direct. If you, your spouse, or your kid own stock or has some other direct financial stake in a company that's bidding on a contract you're involved with, well, that is a textbook conflict of interest. Next, we have personal conflicts, and this goes way beyond just money. Are you or maybe a close relative already working for a company that's bidding? Or maybe you're just talking to them about a job in the future. Any relationship that could make you seem biased, even if it's unintentional, can fall into this category. And finally, there are organizational conflicts of interest, or OCIs. This is about the company's impartiality. So for example, if your company was hired by the government to help write the requirements for a big project, it would be a massive unfair advantage for your firm to then turn around and bid on that same project. You just can't be both the referee and a player on the field. So what happens if you suddenly realize, I might have a conflict? The rule here is absolute. You have to disclose it immediately. Tell the contracting officer. Trying to hide a potential conflict is pretty much the worst thing you can do, because it puts the integrity of the entire procurement in doubt and could get the whole thing canceled. All right, our third and final big area of integrity deals with the revolving door. That's what they call it when federal employees leave their government jobs to go work in the private sector. There are very specific rules to stop former officials from unfairly cashing in on the inside knowledge and influence they got while working for the government. And here's the magic number you have to remember: $10 million. Once a contract's value hits $10 million, a bunch of really strict post-employment cooling off periods automatically kick in for the key government folks involved. Let's break down how this timeline works. For the people who were most directly involved, we're talking the contracting officer, the members of the evaluation board. There's a mandatory 1-year ban. They can't accept any payment from the company that won the contract for a full year. For higher-up officials who had broader oversight, with the law calls official responsibility, that ban can actually stretch to 2 years. And then look at the very end of this timeline. For any specific project you worked on personally and substantially, there is a lifetime ban on you ever representing someone else to the government on that same exact issue forever. Okay, so we've covered protecting secrets, avoiding conflicts, and the revolving door rules. Why does all of this matter so much? Because doing all this stuff right is the number one way to avoid something called a protest, which is a formal challenge that can stop a critical project dead in its tracks. A protest is exactly what it sounds like. It's a formal complaint from a company that lost a bid, saying that the process was flawed or unfair. And let me tell you, protests can cause massive delays. They waste a ton of time and money, and they can seriously undermine the government's missions. So the whole goal is to build a process that is basically protest-proof right from the start. That means you only talk about the procurement with people who have a legitimate need to know. It means locking up documents, securing computers, and this one is huge. It means documenting all your decisions with a neutral, professional tone. Basically, write everything as if a judge might read it one day, because they just might. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. This single quote is probably the most important thing to take away from this whole explainer. Procurement integrity isn't about some secret complex game. It's about clarity, consistency, and fairness. It's about laying out the rules of the competition in that solicitation document and then following your own rules to the letter. When you do that, you build a foundation of trust, and that is absolutely essential for the government to work the way it's supposed to, for all of us.
Thank you for watching. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor and sharing your product or service with the world, reach out to MarketUS.com. You can schedule a session to discover how we can work together. See you soon.